So here's the situation. Usually I have my slate of videos planned out. I'll pick up a game, play it, procrastinate till it's time to get started on the script, and then I'll spend about a week or two making some sort of Frankenstein abomination. This time I'm doing things a little differently. I was gonna finish Nightmare of Decay, but I kinda soft-locked myself, so instead of swallowing my pride and restarting the game from scratch, I decided to play some underground, free-to-play or cheap, bite-sized horror games. After scouring through Steam and randomly downloading whatever game caught my eye, I decided to play as many as I could in one night, per the request of my Twitch viewers. I won't be covering too much of the narratives of these games because they're all like 20 minutes long or I don't have much to work with. I've got 4 reviews to do in a single video and we're already on a time crunch, so let's not waste any more time and just dive right in. Ginkgo, I hope I'm saying that right, was a game I've actually had in my wishlist for some time as part of my crusade to add every horror game, especially unknown indie games that I otherwise never would have come across, to my pile of things to buy. This one only lasted about 20 minutes, so I'll keep this brief. The central mechanic of this game is based around a thread that you can use to open doors, solve puzzles, and create or destroy walls, bridges, or other obstacles. The style and aesthetic of this game is absolutely killer. It has this beautiful East Asian inspiration that almost gives me Laika vibes. It's colorful and stylized in a way that makes it feel warm and comforting, but also really works when leaning into the spooky elements. Also, the gameplay had no clunkiness or other issues. Any hiccups or errors are completely my fault. According to some reviewers, the game has some bugs, but I didn't really see it. I'm unsure. Now, like I said, this game is only 20 minutes long, and how, you may be wondering, do they get any substantial horror out of that small runtime? Well, there's essentially a small series of chase segments in some claustrophobic environments, and it actually got a reaction out of me the first time it came up. Wait, what? Oh my god! Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my goodness gracious. The chases are reminiscent of your classic survival horror pursuer that you'd see in other games, but the kicker is that in order to effectively get away from it, sometimes you gotta use the thread, and let me tell you, using such a pinpoint tool in a chase will make the experience far more intense. My only criticism of the game so far is just that it's so damn short. At least it would be if it weren't for the fact that this is a student project from a team in the USC Games program. This goes way harder than it needs to. Either way, massively recommend this one. If this team is still attending school, give them a fucking A+ grade and a kiss on the forehead. This one was great. And that's saying something, given they tried to think of something scarier than living in Los Angeles, which I imagine is pretty hard to do. Now, while the horror element is absolutely there, I think the puzzles were the overall highlight for me. I can only imagine how well those would integrate into other horror sections if this team developed the game further. If they do, I will buy the final release because, as a demo, this one is rad as fuck. Ginkgo gets a big old thumbs up from me. Alright, now this one is a bit perplexing. I added this one and its sequel to my wishlist, and my friend Jesse bought this game for me for Christmas, so everyone say thank you to Jesse in the comments for this one. I'll give you a second. Now, I'm just going to abbreviate this game as MILK to save us all time, because I'm not going to regurgitate that anime-level length original title over and over. It'll get exhausting quickly. MILK is certainly a puzzling one to me because it's a visual novel. I'm no visual novel connoisseur, and the only one I've ever played from start to finish is Doki Doki Literature Club, which is awesome, but even still, I don't really have much in the way of exposure to this kind of game. MILK is different in that it has this pixelated monochrome art style, which by itself isn't too off-putting, but it is a little uncanny. What really ties the uncomfortability into it is that droning music that plays in the background in combination with it. Under the hood, the game has some themes that I would say deserve a disclaimer, purely because of how personal they may get. As a psychological horror experience, the game contains themes of mental health, abuse, and and possibly even more that I may not have noticed outright. There's a good chance that it may hit too close to home for some people. It's a bit difficult to even describe this game from a story perspective outside of what we see on the surface level, as a lot of it falls into implications and, dare I say, meta territory, but not in a Velma sort of way. It's really tough to explain it, but I recommend you check it out if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not gonna lie, it even got a giggle out of me a couple times, whether it was intended or not, which only made the horror hit that much more when it crept up. Anti-humor type stuff often appeals to me, but your mileage may vary. Since it's a visual novel, I suppose I should, without giving too much away, focus on the dialogue. The girl we focus on has this very peculiar way of talking and definitely has some quirks about her, which signals right at the start of the game that she's got something more going on. The options you have for dialogue choices as a player range from supportive to neutral to just... bruh. There are no alternate endings, but if you choose too many of these, something unique does happen. I'll let you find that out on your own if you decide to get this game, which honestly I can recommend, but with a big ol' asterisk of depending on how you feel about the game's themes. It certainly wasn't what I was expecting, and I'm still unsure what to make of some of it, given it was made by one guy. I gotta give him props for this one. It definitely has a lot of thought put into it, and it shows. It's the kind of game that may leave you looking like this by the time you're done, which, for a psychological piece, is a pretty appropriate outcome. Another thumbs up for the night. Now, moving on, let's go to one of the scariest places on Earth. This one is going to be a little shorter since there's not really much to talk about story-wise. Golgotha takes you on a trip to jolly old England, but that isn't even the scariest part. Shocking, I know. This game takes you to a haunted train station, and the entire focus of the game is the exploration and atmosphere. I'm not gonna lie, that's really what did it for me at first. It has that I'm not fucking going down there type of horror that you'd get from a basement staircase at 3 a.m. It could be argued that a lack of a combat system or even a death mechanic is a bit of a letdown, but this game took me a little under half an hour. The fact that it manages to give you a good helping of atmosphere in that short of a time is a W as far as I'm concerned. There's an inventory system, some exploration, and much to my pleasure, not a single jump scare, which is good because things do happen, it just isn't a tease. It's not much, but it's good for how long it is. And to give this game even more credit, literally everything was done by a single dude. Bravo, Craig. Very based. Huh, these games so far have all been winners, same as the last few games I reviewed on this channel. Am I a hack fraud who's too easy to please?
No.
Let's check out the next couple of games, one of which I couldn't even finish.
What the dog do? What the fuck are these lens flares?
So this is a game I never heard about until a user in my chat suggested I play it after calling my stream a, quote, browsing Steam simulator while looking at other quick games to play. He was right, by the way. I was taking a long time to search for shit because I'm an indecisive bitch. Horse.
Peter. The horse is here.
Doesn't look like you play as a horse. Not gonna play. Reclusive? What's Reclusive? Is that a game? $7. Well, shit. Anyways, Reclusive is a game that is impossible to pin down because it barely worked at all on my computer, which by all accounts doesn't make sense. I got the RGBs and everything. Oh my god, what the fuck is going on here? All I got is that it's about an old man and his dog, and they go to a lighthouse and demons occasionally hang from the rafters. Robert Livingston sails to a remote northern island to spend the last days of his life and encounters unexplained phenomena and creatures. Hidden objects, demons, puzzle, dark. Could be speedrunning Choo Choo Charles right now. I don't want to play Choo Choo Charles. Even if it did function, it doesn't seem very scary or even that good in regards to other gameplay elements. I'm gonna pass on this one. Hashtag Reclusive Sweep. Oh, dude, look at that running animation. Yeah, this fucking rocks, dude. We Went Back feels more like a proof of concept than anything else. It's got more to do with puzzles and art direction than horror itself, which, to save you all the time, is mostly comprised of jump scares. Some cheap, some not so bad. A quick thing about the art direction is that it's probably my favorite part of the game. The circular sci-fi corridor is excellently designed, and honestly it looks fantastic. I even found myself stopping to check out the smaller details, which were plentiful. Good shit.
Rat! How do I free him? How do I let him run amok?
The entire crux of the game is the loop mechanic, which, not gonna lie, is pretty damn cool as an idea. The entire game is, if you really want to get down to it, just walking in a circle. And every time you loop back to the beginning, some new permutations just happen to the environment. It's really cool. Big kudos to the team there. The thing that didn't grab me as much as the actual horror elements. Yeah, I know, haha, jump scare bad is an easy argument, but it also comes down to the creature that shows up.
Well. What was the point of that?
Yeah, not my favorite design if I'm being honest. But with all that aside, it's fine as far as these 30-minute jaunts go. You go through the loop, each time you find some new secret as part of a cipher, then you finish the game when the cipher's done. It's a little single-player escape room, and as an avid escape room enjoyer, I can dig it. I would definitely be interested to see what else Dead Thread games can do, since this is their only game. It seems I have a knack for finding devs who only made one game, but by God, I want to see what all of these teams can continue to do. Because even for all the nitpicks I've given on this one, I can see the merit in them. And that goes for all the other games I've talked about too, when you think about it. And clearly other people seem to think so too, with such reviews as I Went Back, and my personal favorite, before I played We Went Back, I had a small PP, no friends, no GF, depression, and no life. These things haven't changed, but the game is pretty good. So what exactly did I learn from this little challenge? Well, honestly, I think the big takeaway is just that indie devs deserve more love. I know the term indie horror generally inspires the collective groan of people who immediately think that horror indie games are just for kids, or those what if kid thing but scary kind of games. And believe me, I'm not a fan of those either, but there's a lot of games that fall under the radar that deserve more love, because there's some good stuff out there, and a lot of it's free. Milk was only $1, so I'm essentially counting that one as free too. And to be fair, I did get it as a gift.
Dude, check out what came for you in the mail.
Oh yeah! What is it?
Hell, the only game that cost over $1 was Reclusive, and I got that one refunded. No shade, but just, I was not going to finish that. The moral of the story, I guess, is that indie horror isn't just a cesspool of viral game bait, for lack of a better term. I'm not like the Roger Ebert of horror reviewers, and a lot of it comes down from my own taste, but at least as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot to like. Some kinks to be ironed out for sure, but overall a great night to play 4 games in a row, and if you have an hour or two to spare, I'd recommend you do the same. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be. I know what I'm streaming next, but if Nightmare of Decay is any indicator, that is definitely not set in stone. So if you like shit like this, I never thought I'd say this, and please feel free to ignore me, but if you do hit the subscribe button and the like button, I will greatly appreciate that, so do whatever you feel like doing.